it's amazing. Like the trajectory of my real estate business came from a moment of wanting to hide my identity, to stepping in and allowing myself to be me, and then more importantly, utilizing who I was before to actually put it into this new venture that I'm doing, and knowing that I was going to kill it. Because if I learned how to do moves 20 something years and I was obsessed with it, why wouldn't I put that same energy to something new, a different vertical, and do the same thing?
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Robert Eisenstadt. Today is a special, meaningful treat. I got Legacy Perez in the studio. Legacy is a dear friend of mine. He opened my mind to a lot of things, helped me see a lot more of my purpose. I met him at the same place I met Cole. And if you guys watched that previous show with Cole Hatter, I talked about, telling my story to some people, and Legacy was the first person that I ever really told my life story to. And we just clicked, man. We became friends. We enjoyed a cigar and some whiskey, and we cried.
Yep, we did.
But it was a magical moment. It was awesome. I appreciate your friendship, man. I'm so thankful that you're here. Legacy Perez was a finalist on So You Think You Can Dance. He's now a real estate investor. What are some of the other things that you're a life coach, right?
Yeah, life coach.
Which is amazing. So what are some of the things that you got going on?
So obviously the real estate business is going well. We've got right now 3 properties, about to start our 4th. But I feel like where my heart is, where my purpose is, and my passion is coaching. There's a quote that one of my important mentors in my life, his name is Philip McKernan. He said, "We're usually brought to the place that we belong, kicking and screaming." And what that meant for me when I heard it was the very thing that we don't want to do, that we keep thinking about doing, but for whatever reason we don't do it because we're either afraid. Like me coaching, in essence, is my coaching style is I like to help people get in tune with their emotions, go into their trauma, understand why they do the things that they do, and reframe that mindset and actually utilize their story for a purpose, right? And one of the things that I found was I didn't do this for many. I used to do it for friends, but many years I was like, I'm not a coach. I would deny what I wanted to do because if you think about it, the thing that's very near and dear to your heart, if you're rejected or if people are like, oh, that doesn't work or you're not good at it, then your whole world comes crumbling down. Versus starting a real estate business, if I do a house and it does good or doesn't, it doesn't matter. It's just a house. It's a business.
Right.
So I think my life coaching right now is I'm in a position where I'm starting to really hone in on what my gifts are and my craft, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
So you have a story though that got you to that point, right? So you started, I would say, at least from what I know, you started your, I guess, career in dancing, in the dance world, right?
Yep.
And then you got into real estate and then into life coaching, right?
Yes.
How'd you get into dancing?
So originally, that was actually a great question. So dancing, my dad back in the day, I think I was like 7 or 8, and we used to have house parties or Latin. I'm Colombian, so Latin dance parties and people birthdays and
wild.
And my dad used to be like, "Come on, dance!" And he used to dance like Footloose, like punk rock dancing. And I was like, no. And I have video footage. Actually, I'll share it with you. Maybe you can play a snippet or something. But we were dancing, and my dad always danced. And he said, "Come on." He would pull me, and then I would like say no, and he pushed me and pulled me, and I was like, "Dude, no." And then he'll take out $1, and he'll give me $1, and then I'll be like, I started dancing. So it's like since when I was young, I had rhythm, and I played soccer. Then when I got to middle school, what was interesting is during piano class, some traumatic thing happened to me where my mom and my brother left the country back to Colombia to get their paperwork for their visas because my dad had his residency, but my mom didn't, and she went with my brother. And so at that time I was 10 years old, and I felt like they abandoned me. I didn't know what was going on. Like my dad must have told me, "Hey, you know, your mom's leaving. She'll be back. It's for papers. Don't worry. You're gonna
10?
live with me." I was 10, and I weirdly enough, it was about fifth grade. Actually, was it fifth? Yeah, it was fifth grade, and I got the highest physical fitness achievement award, which I remember the drive behind that achievement was anger. I was like angrier than everyone else, so I was pushing faster. I was doing more pull-ups. I was running faster. It was like I had this thing. So one night I remember going home, and it was during Christmas time, and I was just with my dad, and I couldn't sit still, and I was kind of moving my body, and it felt like not, my body wasn't at ease. And then from there, the next year when my brother came back in middle school, I played the piano, and I was doing this weird thing with my fingers, almost like a OCD thing that I was like trying to figure out what my fingers to do opposite direction. But if you go fast, they kind of stay still. It was a weird thing for me at the moment. I didn't tell anybody. It just kind of flew under the radar. That developed into another twitch of me like trying to put my chin in my shoulders and hitting myself. And it was like, throughout the years, my mom tried to take me to a neurologist, and she's like, he's got this twitch. And then when I would go to the doctor, I'd be sitting completely still, like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, she would cry because she was trying to figure out what was going on.
Do you have like a little twitch or something?
I do, absolutely.
Because I mean, just being honest, I've noticed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've seen, because we've been at like conferences, we've hung out many times.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, but like it was never like a big thing.
No, it's like a subtle thing, and it happens even if I'm excited, if I'm angry, when my emotions go peak, which is very often, I tend to have some type of outlet in that twitch. So
you're probably a horrible liar.
Yeah.
There's like a telltale, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, So exactly. When I'm like get excited, I'm like, yeah, guys, and it's like I like twitch. And for many years, my friends would be like, yo, what is that? I was like, what are you talking about? And I was denying it. Then when I got to high school, I was in 9th grade, and I saw breakdancing. I saw b-boying, and I was like, oh, cool. And so I didn't associate the two, but it was movement. And what I realized that while I was learning how to dance and like studying the whole culture of b-boying from the 70s, I could actually hide the twitches. Like somebody would be like, I'll be like twitching, but like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm popping. Like, right? Because you can literally hide all of it.
It was like a way of like kind of hiding from.
It was a way of hiding my twitching.
Damn.
Yeah. So if you can imagine, like, I finally found the formula to not be embarrassed. I became the best at it. Like I was like, how can I learn every style, every movement? I was doing power moves, which is like head spins and back spins, and then I taught it myself the opposite way. So I was like one of the few people in the world at that time that was spinning one way, doing flares, and stopping and going the other way, and then with the same amount of speed. I just had this drive. Once again, it was this drive and fire, but it was to cover up these switches. Plus, I obviously loved the culture, and I loved moving. I mean, who doesn't want to spin on their head at a party? Like,
dude, every time we're anywhere, I bust out my phone. I'm like, yo, Legacy, bust something out, dude. And he starts like doing these crazy fucking head spins, and what's it called when you're like bouncing on your back from like windmills, whatever it's called, dude. And like everybody just goes crazy. They love it.
Yeah,
dude, like so cool, man.
And so catching on to that, then I became really good at it. Then what happened was, I'm so expressive in general that my dancing, people would watch how I moved, and it's so I learned to express myself big in dance. And so when I would go somewhere, I would do the moves, and people would be like, I feel what you're doing. But then at that point, I realized that it was the pain that had me sharing my expression through movement. And I don't know if I've done some research recently where they say that emotion and pain stays in the body. And so if that's accurate, then me dancing was a form of healing at some level. This emotional pain that I had, which I didn't know about. It's like it's so subconscious. We do things to cover up our pain and to avoid gain pleasure, avoid pain, but we don't even notice that's what we do. So for so many years, I did that until I started doing self-development and understanding a little bit of why I did what I did.
So was there an aha moment? Was there like a moment where you were like, I understand now why I have been so pushed towards dancing, and like why I was embarrassed before, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't think there was a particular. I remember when I first saw the dancing and I twitched, and somebody asked me, "Why am I twitching?" And I said, I'm dancing." I remember that moment. It wasn't an aha. It was like, okay, I can cover it up. I think the aha moment happened when I started dancing with people, with a group, and I started street performing, asking for donations in New
I didn't know you
York.
street performed.
Yeah.
Really?
Dude, like
you make a lot of money.
Yeah, you can make $1,000 to $3,000 a day.
What? Did you ever come out here and do it?
Per team. I didn't do it in Vegas. I did it in New York, in the city. I did it at the Pier. I did it in Santa Monica Promenade. I did it in Miami. I did it in New Orleans when I ran out of gas driving from Miami to LA when I did that cross-country trip. And you know, I'll share that story a little later, but I did it in certain places. I feel like I told myself I would never be homeless or never not know how to make money, because I can go to the street, stand on my head for a moment, set up a speaker, and I have the lines that generate people's attention where they can come around, and then I will collect money from them. Ones, fives, 20s, 10s. It doesn't matter. I can get $100 bills from people. It's all in the way you express yourself and the talent that you deliver.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
You would have crushed it out here.
For sure. I mean, we crushed it. I did it in Australia as well. I think we made in like 4 weeks, we made like $100,000 in 4 weeks.
What?
Yeah.
The fuck?
With a team of 4.
I've never talked to anybody. Like, you always see the street performers out there, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I've never, I guess, sparked up a conversation with them. So how did you get into So You Think You Can Dance, like the TV show then?
So that was like that. So that show, well, although people might think, okay, he's got on that show while he made it, but that was actually the start of my decline of my dance career.
Really?
Yeah. And so I'll share a little bit of why. So transitioning from my dancing in Miami to street dancing in Miami to working at Universal Studios Orlando, Florida, to getting into and the idea that I wanted to street perform in like Europe, and I bought me and my friends were like, let's just move somewhere, and my buddy was like, let's move to LA. Like I was watching You Got Served on the TV, on the big screen, and in a movie theater, and I was like, yo, why is the guy that we always battle in that movie and we're not? And my buddy Flea's like, yo, we gotta move to LA, and I was like, let's go. And I just literally got up.
From where?
From Miami. We were in Miami at the time, so we got in the car and took off the next day. My parents were like, peace, we love you, but you're crazy, and go ahead. And so we took off and ran out of gas in New Orleans. We street performed on Bourbon Street to make enough money. We ate sushi that night, stayed in a hotel. It was awesome. New Orleans is where you perform. And then we got to LA 4 days later, went to Third Street Promenade to dance, and then you need a permit. So the cop stopped us and was like, we gotta arrest you. Like you
get arrested?
can't be here. I mean, they didn't take us to jail.
They detained you, and then
they detained us, and I'm like, dude, I'm under arrest. I'm dancing on the street. Like I got my Florida driver's license. Like, what's going on? And he's like, you need a permit. So I was like, how much is it? He's like, $42. Go to City Hall. Blah blah blah. So we went, slept in the car that night. Went to City Hall, got the permit, made some more money, and then accumulated enough to be able to rent an apartment, a very empty apartment at that time, with me and my friend. We rented it, and then shortly after that, within the next like year, we got an agency. Like pretty soon after that, I did my first commercial, and then I booked a world tour with Gwen Stefani.
Really?
Yeah. So I toured with Gwen Stefani for a total of about 3 years. It was on and off, but we did the AMAs, the VMAs. We did Good Morning America. We did all the shows. So it was like, that was like the beginning of my career in LA, but it was peaking because of the talent that I had accumulated over years, plus the fire that we had. People would say you just have a pep in your step. And it was just that fire to be the best, and I was at my peak. Like I was spinning faster than I ever had spun. I was doing combinations. I had presence because I was a street performer, so you have to have like that stage presence, that it factor. You'd be like, ladies and gentlemen, everybody please move up, make it look like we're good. And it's like comedy mixed with your charisma, and I was good at that. So you put me in an audition in a closed room, and I'm like, what time is it? Show time. What's up, everybody? And we dancing. It just
in front of a couple people.
That's it. But I would kill it because I was so strong and powerful.
And that's what you were used to.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, that's nuts. That's so cool. Yeah. Like I you were saying that, and I was like, I started to think, I was like, man, you're so lucky that you learned that. But it's not like luck. You know what I mean? But you're just blessed that you had those like hard. obstacles in your way, like, having to freaking literally drive, run out of gas, like learn how to sell to people. And then you got put in this position where you're like, dude, like, this is who I am. And then you end up on tour with Gwen Stefani. And so how is that like the decline of your career though?
So I'll take it back a little bit. So Gwen Stefani, not peak of the career. That was the beginning of the career. Then from there, I got an opportunity to work with Chris Brown when he first started in his Run It video. Justin Bieber. I'd work with Missy Elliott, Mariah Carey. I was on tour with.
Did you put your thing down, flip it, and reverse it?
I did. I did.
I'm just joking.
I flipped it around and reversed it. No, but so I mean, I did movies, I did commercials. I was on fire. And so I remember season 1 of So You Think You Can Dance, and the season came, like they started calling professional dancers, which was what I was, because I had an agency and I was going on professional, getting paid. And they're like, we're looking for people to do the commercial for this show. So I remember getting hired for the commercial, which is like the silhouettes and the people. And then they had an audition for the actual show. And I went, and it was like 5,000 dancers. And I was like, this is all amateurs. Like, I'm not going to do this. So I remember leaving. That was season 1. I got hired again for season 4 to do the commercial of it. And so I'm like, all right, cool, I'll just do it. I didn't really pay attention to the show because it was choreography. I'm a freestyle dancer. I didn't learn choreography until like later on.
Right.
But I remember like Justin Timberlake's choreographer, his name is Marty. I would go watch his classes because I wanted to learn. Even not to be on the show, I just wanted to learn for myself, to like learn, because in b-boying and breaking, you see something and you're supposed to recreate it and move it differently. So you're not, they call you a biter, like a chomper, like you just stole somebody's move. So you don't want to be a copycat. You don't want to copy. So you have to change up the moves. And so that by default, if I see you do this, I'm going to see how I can reverse it or do it the other way or something different. So I was like, let me teach myself choreography. And my friends would make fun of me. Like, oh, you're going to go shake your booty. And I'm like, dude, I'm not shaking my booty. It's like,
how'd you get through that? Like putting yourself out there, like, dude, like not for nothing. I mean, it's tough to be in a situation when your friends are like kind of making fun of you and you have this thing that you believe in. And like putting yourself out there, dude, like I deal with that still. And so like, I'm genuinely asking you, like, how do you get yourself mentally to a point to stop caring because it's not caring what other people think. It's caring about like
what they think about you,
but it's the people that are close to you. You know what I mean? So like putting yourself out there, knowing that you're going to get judged, like what do you...
Ooh, there's a couple things there. I'm going to give you my perspective then, and then I'm going to give you what my solution would be now.
Okay.
So my perspective then was, I know what I want. I have a desire to be good at this. And although my friends were making fun of me, they all ended up doing choreography with me. Like my friend, the one that was laughing at me, ended up on tour with me because I taught him the choreography through how b-boys learn, the simplistic way. And I wanted to learn how to pop, which I never did. It was like popping and wave and like boogaloo and like the different styles. Because if you think about it, I consider myself a movement specialist, even with the twitches, like movement specialist. I can see movement and I can watch it and I can see it and I know what my body's doing. I know where my foot is at all times. I'll spin on my head in a very small confined room and I know who's around and how not to kick people. Like that's just what I trained my whole life to do.
Can you do it on this table?
I could probably do a freeze.
I'm joking, dude.
I'll try. I've done it on like pianos. So ultimately, as I'm doing this, I knew that the bigger picture was a business move. I knew that I wanted to learn the movement because if I knew how to do choreography, I could then get hired. Instead of them hiring one specialty and one choreographer dancer,
right,
I would be a hybrid of both. And there was some people doing it, but not like me, not Legacy stepping in to do what he does and choreography because it was just not the same. So I went in and I started picking it up and I started getting other jobs other than just specialty. Then I started increasing the value of myself and asking for more money. So I would be like, oh, you're saving money on this person would be $2,000. I would be $2,000. That's $4,000. You're going to pay me $3,000 and I'm doing both. So it was a bit, I've always wanted to be business mindset. Like I was just like, even I even got a S corp in business called a loan out corporation, where it's my S corp loans me out as a talent, and then I get my money in full, and then I recalibrate and do my taxes later. So like nobody was doing that before, and I was kind of one of the originators of like doing. Some people were doing it, but I kind of came in and said, you know what, I'm going to do this business wise. And then that's when you kind of look at all opportunities and say, well, I could teach, I could do bar mitzvahs, I could do this, I could produce, I can direct, I can choreograph. And so I looked at all my avenues of how I can make money in dance, thus landing at I was choreographing with a girl that she was on season 4 of the show, and she asked me to come do a choreographed piece. I'm gonna step back for a moment. I'll talk about the season 4 and going into the show. But you asked me about like, how do you deal with people? So I want to finish that concept. How do I deal with those people? I knew the big picture, and so that's where I was going. What I would do now is I would share my fears with people, so that they can relate to what I'm thinking about. So for example, if I was starting a business and you were my boy, and I knew that you were like, dude, what are you doing? You're crazy. I would say, yo, Robert, like I'm stepping into new territory, bro. And you're the only person right now, or you're the first person or second or 10th that I'm sharing this with. And one of my biggest fears is that I don't have support by the people that I love. And that's like you. Like my biggest fear is for you to not support me and then make me go through my concepts of building a business, and in the back of my head knowing that you don't support me because you think I'm crazy or you think that I'm going to fail. And so I need a person like yours support. Like, are you my friend? Can I count on you? And so the depth of that makes people go, fuck, like they can't hate on you because you just exposed yourself. You were talking about
vulnerability.
No, you're talking about the freaking, what's his name, the rapper, Eminem's trailer. The first thing that came to mind is so funny because it just tied in full circle. Was he exposed himself so much that nobody could talk crap about him on stage?
Oh yeah,
they couldn't talk shit.
What the fuck are you gonna say about me?
What are you gonna say?
Yeah,
you did this to my girl. You did that. I'm a piece of nothing. I got shit. I don't got nothing. Boom, I'm nothing. What? And the guy's like, I don't know what to say because you just exposed everything about you that I was going to knock you down for.
Right.
So if you approach people and say, yo, here's me open and my heart is open, you can shatter it right now. What are you choosing to do? They're like, I support you, bro. Like it just happens that way. So
damn, I've never looked at it that way, dude. Cause like I've gotten to a point where I just stopped, like when I'm in dream mode, I just stopped sharing my dreams with other people because I don't want somebody else's perspective and idea of what I'm trying to do knock it down. And maybe that's like obviously the wrong way to go about it.
No.
I just need to communicate. Well, but I'm saying like the right people at least communicate and be willing to be vulnerable about the things that I'm trying to do and ask for the support. You know, oftentimes we just expect people to be like, you're my boy, you're going to support me, you know? Yeah.
Here's the power. That I think what you do is what one's supposed to do, but here's the power that you have. You get to choose who goes on that journey with you. Like you get to say, let me evaluate this friend. Has he been there for me before? And is he just not understanding this concept that I'm bringing in? And maybe I can inspire him to do something good, or her. And let me just share that. But you can say, you know what? I'm not going to hang out with them because they just are negative as a person. And I know that that's going to bring me down. So then you choose who you want in your circle. Because I got rid of friends also. Like had all my dance friends. I think I have like 5 dance friends where I used to have like hundreds.
Right.
And now my friends are people like you, entrepreneurs, people that want to change the world. Like that's exciting to me. Like that I want to share. I'm the biggest cheerleader for people like you, my buddy Cole. Like I want people to win. And it's kind of, it's double-sided. It's like, one, because I'm selfish because I want to be able to win. And if you're winning, that means I can win. Right. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, I want you to win because I want you to be happy. Because if you're happy, then I'm happy.
Right.
And so it's like both ways. It's selfish, but it's also selfless to be able to support people that way. Because why not? Like, why not cheer for people?
Yeah.
It's like,
and then there's a larger impact.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So how did you go from dancing into real estate and then into life coaching. I kind of want to just like touch base on how you got into real estate and then how you got into coaching, and we can kind of dive into that a little bit more.
I love that because I think they go hand in hand, which I've always had a gift of reading people. I think it's because, and when I say reading people, I studied dance for many years. I mean, 29 years I'm at right now. Right. And so I realized sometimes people's micro expressions, their body movement, their posture, their body language, like I study that plus what they say, conscious or unconscious, whether it's a Freudian slip or whether they're saying something like a throwaway. They're like, oh yeah, no, it doesn't even matter. Like when people talk, they tell you what they're feeling through their words. And if you pay attention, which I tend to do, I always did that my whole life. I didn't know what it was, and I would give people advice when I was like 13. The people in my friends group would call me the love doctor, and I was like, I don't know, like, what do you mean? Like, I would just be like, oh, the kid's not giving you attention to the girl, and I'd be like, well, stop calling him for 3 days. He's gonna come. He's gonna be like, yo, why aren't you calling me? He wants your attention. So
yeah,
and they would just be like, you're amazing. You're the love doctor. I was like, no, I think it was the game at that time that I understood. But getting into real estate, so I finally made, so let me go back to the story with Lauren. So this girl Lauren was on a season from So You Think You Can Dance. She said, hey, can you come help me? I'm doing jazz and I want you to add your b-boying in it and let's do a partner dance. But it was to be able to go to 15, 20 cities auditioning for season 6.
Of So You Think You Can Dance.
Of So You Think You Can Dance. So I said, you know what? Cool, let's do it. So we made it up. It's like a ding, 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 boom, boom, boom. And in it, there was some jazz stuff that I looked like a freaking idiot because it was like a ballet thing, like a arabesque and stuff like that. And so I'm like, you know what? I'll do it with you. So we did it. She presented it to the producer, which is the guy that actually taught me about the don't be excited and nervous. That nervous is excitement contrast. And he was like, okay, cool, you guys are doing it? Awesome. So I got hired on the thing, and then we went on tour. So we basically went to Memphis, we went to Seattle, we went to a bunch of different cities, and the producer was just like watching me the whole time, obviously. And so I would teach it, and then I would just kind of move to the side, and then they'd have their audition, and they'd be judged. And City 2, City 3, he was like, what do you do? And he didn't even know that I was a b-boy. He was like, what do you do? And I was like, well, I break. And then Lauren was like, show him. And I went crazy. And he goes, you know what I noticed from City 1 to City 2 to City 3, your ability to pick up the jazz part of it is exceptional. Like, you are very good at picking things up, and you refine it as you're doing it. You don't just do it consistently the same. You're like constantly getting better. Your toe is being pointed. Your leg is higher. Your posture's better. He goes, have you ever thought about auditioning for So You Think You Dance? And I said, oh, yeah, no. Like, dude, in my head, I was like, I did the commercial for season 1. I did the commercial for season 4. Like, I'm doing this. Like, no, I'm a professional dancer. And I was like, no, it's like taking a step back. And he paused. And this is probably one of my defining moments in my life where it was a defining moment decision. He said, have you ever thought about taking a step back to take a leap forward? Now, I know that's just a concept, like, okay, yeah, you take a step back to run, propel yourself, right? But in my head, he goes, your name will be a household name. Everyone will know who you are, and it will be very easy for you to get work. And I was like, I already get work. And he's like, just think about it. Thought about it that night, and I said, you know what? I would love to. He's like, all right, cool, I'm taking you off this thing. I'm going to set you up. You're going to go audition. You have to go through the whole process because I'm not just going to hand it on a silver platter. But I think if you apply yourself, it's so funny. It's tied into real estate as well. I know that if you apply yourself with what I've seen, I think you can make it pretty far. And I said, all right. So I went and auditioned in Phoenix, and I made it to Vegas week, which is the tough week where you have to like kind of condensed learn a bunch of different things. Jazz, Broadway, you have to do contemporary hip hop. You have a bunch of choreographers. It's like a mini version of the show. And so I went, and it was one of the most toughest things in my life because I bought ballroom shoes that were too small, so I had blisters on the backs, in the front, my sides, and my toes. So it was hurting. I was doing the movement wrong. I was looking like a complete disaster. My son was actually going to be born during that time, so I was away from my baby's mother at the time, and I was just going through so much. And they pulled me aside and they're like, yo, you're amazing normally. What's going on? And so once they did that, it's so interesting because this is talking about coaching and what I realized right at this moment is that I'm good at listening and looking at what people's perspective is from the outside of me and adjusting what I need to do to be better. Allowing somebody to be my coach, which is one of the toughest things. And so, you got to drop your ego. You got to be humble. And so I said, cool. I cleaned up my tears. I washed my face. I looked in the mirror and I said, Legacy, you're gonna get on this. This is yours. Who cares about your blisters? Like, go and eat it up. So I went on stage, performed the last piece, which is a very heartfelt contemporary piece. And everybody was bawling their eyes out. And I was just like, what happened? I just completely went into a zone. And they were like, dude, what was that? Like, we need that guy. And I was like, that's the guy that was in pain. That was like, screw this. This is the last shot I've got. Like, I don't want to fail. And I stepped up to the plate and they were like, you made it to Vegas week. You made it to top 20. Got into top 20. And what happened, and I'll share with you, the 10 weeks that I was there or 12 weeks that I was there, you're hired as a contestant, so you don't get paid. So I was there not working, in essence, blowing through my savings. My son was born. The last day on Vegas week, I actually missed my son's birth.
Fuck.
I would say it's probably one of my biggest regrets, for sure. Yeah, don't do that. If you're watching, make sure you don't do anything that you're doing and make sure you're there for your kids.
People make sacrifices.
No, but I think it's important, So I was literally at the airport waiting for him to be born, looking at a screen, going, what am I doing? But, anyways, moving on from there, I went through the show, and what people, my choreographers that would hire me, and the producers and everybody that was hiring me before, thought I was like, I made it. He's on national TV, 14 million people watching every night. Like, this guy's blown up. And so they stopped calling me. Like, they're like, oh, he's on tour. He's on tour. He's not there. And I wasn't calling people because I was used to just getting hired.
Right.
And so everything stopped. Everything stopped. I was like, nobody's calling me for work. I have no savings. I remember specifically 15 cents in my checking, 27 cents in my savings account. Literally. And $3,000 that I had under my bed at some point that I stacked money away in my pocket. So I went to street performing again. I was like, all else fails, I'm not going to let this go, so I'm going to go dance on the street. So I went to 3rd Street Promenade, Santa Monica with my boy. We're hanging out, performing, dancing, and on my way back from there, I was driving on the 10 freeway going to the 405, and I heard a commercial. We're looking for a small group of investors, and I never considered myself an investor, but I was like, okay, to do real estate, $0 of your own money, and you can flip a house. And I was like, this is all too good to be true.
Right.
But you know what? I'm there. I've got nothing else. I'm dancing on the street. Like, I went from top 1% of the world of performers making, over 6 figures dancing to 0 in a matter of like 4 months. And so I went to this event. I'm sitting in the back of the room, and Cole Hatter is on stage speaking. And I went there. I usually am kind of like...
You heard this on the radio?
On the radio. I'm usually like I'm a dancer. I'm a b-boy. My name's Legacy. Like, I'm usually like proud to be that. And what I found was I had a fedora. I like my name. I kind of hid it, and I was like, I'm gonna be a businessman. Like, at this event,
Yeah, you're trying to mask who you are.
I was masking my dance persona. And so I'm sitting there. Cole's on stage. I told my business partner at the time, hey, listen, on Sunday, these people are gonna give you a pitch. They're gonna sell you on a program that's between $30,000 and $50,000, because I had been to those before, just to get information on how to increase your interest rates on your credit cards,
right,
how to increase your limits, because that's how they they help you. They help you. I didn't know that was what they do. I just thought they were just giving information out, and I was like taking it like a street kid, like you know. And so on Sunday comes around, and my partner turns to me and goes, "All right, let's go." And I'm like, ugh. It's like, this guy, he's so like, this guy's talking to me. Like, I was like, Cole is talking to me, and you met him. He's like,
I know.
He's like
fucking crazy.
I mean, I think he's one of the best in the world. I love how he speaks professionally. And so I'm looking at my partner and I'm going, yo, do you think this is a real business? Like, do you think they're trying to like just take money? And then we decided that it legit it works. Like, the system that they were offering works. It's just a matter of, one, getting out of your own way, and two, implementing what you learn. And I didn't graduate high school. So in my head, I was good. I was bad at studying. I was bad at taking tests. I was bad at memorizing, A, B, C, D. And when they confuse you on the test, like, I just don't like that stuff.
Right.
Like, I study something and then I see it twisted somewhere else, I'm going to pick the wrong answer. That's just what happened. And then for whatever reason, there was a moment where, and this is so interesting because there was a moment where Cole was on stage and he's like, yo, I'm looking for volunteers. And I thought it was like, oh, get outside your comfort zone is what he said. And I was like, oh, me all day. Like, tell me, I raised my hand. Well, I raised my hand and then I actually did not raise my hand. I was like, I want to do it. And he picked me. He goes, Fedora boy, come up here. And I was like, all right, I'm going to be a buyer and a seller and I'm going to buy their real estate.
Right.
I get to practice right now. And it ended up being a dance competition. Like,
shut the fuck
get
up.
outside your comfort zone. I'm looking at this guy like, so of course I'm hiding my identity of who I was. And so I started walking back to my seat. And my partner goes, no. What are you doing? Go up there. Like, this is your chance to shine. And I was like, I don't want to shine. I want to be Mr. Businessman. Like, call me by my, my first name, not legacy. Like, call me by my first name. Like, I'm hiding. And nope, go last. So I went and I was like, whatever. And so I step up to the stage and then when it was everybody was, dancing. We were having fun. Everybody was laughing. And it was about 300 people. So I took off my hat. I had some jewelry I took off. And I put the head jewelry. And I had a watch. And I put my other thing, fake stuff that I had on at the time. But I was like, putting it inside the fedora. And Cole's making fun of me like, oh,
getting serious.
Look at this guy. Oh, yo, he must be good. Or he's like messing. The audience is laughing at me. And they're like, he's like, oh, you better not suck, dude. Like, yo, look, big boy, big shots taking off all his jewelry. Ooh, like, people were like cracking up. And of course, I'm like building up to it. Like, okay, bro, like, this guy's talking smack. And so I was like, here. And he actually held my hat. And I was like, and then the song started and I did a flip. It's called a gainer. Boom. And I did like a swipe head spin and a slide and I crawled across the stage on my hands and he lost his mind. Everybody was like losing, screaming, kicking. They probably thought I was like, it was staged. And he was so blown away that he made me do the move again. He's like, yo, do that other move. And I was already winded. So I did it. And we connected so awesome and such a deep level that he's one of the pivots in my life. He helped me shape who I am and changed me as my trajectory of my life. Just that moment was like, I got to believe in myself. And I was going to leave on Sunday and I ended up saying, I want to buy the program. Not because he called me up and he actually, we had dinner that night with his family. And that's when I got to meet the Hatters. But to me, it was someone saw me, like you saw me for who I was. And I was like, I need to be me. And when I was signing up, the guy that was signing me up, his name is Mikey D. He's like, hey, listen, man, I know you didn't go to high school. I know whatever the case is, but if you could implement the fire that you have when you dance into real estate, you are going to kill it, my friend. Like, if you can take that prior experience and put it into this, sky's the limit. And don't be afraid of the $1 million deals in LA. And I was like, all right, man. I kind of laughed and spit at him. I was like, you got $1 million deals. Me? You kidding me? I want to buy something smaller. Long story short, fast forward, that was 10 years ago, a decade. And I've done over 70 properties and all within the $1 and $5 million price range. Bought, remodeled, and sold. We've broken a lot of records, just the price per square foot. So it's amazing. Like, the trajectory of my real estate business came from a moment of wanting to hide my identity to stepping in and allowing myself to be me. And then more importantly, utilizing who I was before to actually put it into this new venture that I'm doing and knowing that I was going to kill it, because if I learned how to do moves 20 something years and I was obsessed with it, why wouldn't I put that same energy to something new, a different vertical, and do the same thing? I had a crew that I surrounded myself with. I started building teams. I was relentless, and I took no for an answer, and I practiced every day. I studied every day, and I started researching what things cost and how to start the business, and the logo and like branding. And so it all went hand in hand once I applied myself.
The biggest lesson that I just learned throughout that story, or the idea that I guess came into thought, was that you were masking yourself, and then once you got in the right proximity of the people that you're supposed to be in front of, you were able to be yourself. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think we oftentimes mask who we are, and then you get to a point to where you realize you're like, dude, like, who the fuck are these people to judge me? Because when you get in front of the right people, you're able to be yourself. Like for me, it's this guy. You know what I mean? And like, I'm able to talk about the ideas and be myself, and like the creative side of me, and like, no, it's not going to get judgment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of power. I've said this before, there's power in proximity, but there's power in proximity because you're able to be yourself. And if you're not able to be yourself, you're in the wrong group.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That just really, that hit me, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. It's interesting because we all want to just be ourselves. Like deep down, we all want people to love us for us. And I think that sometimes we just show up thinking that we need to be something that somebody else wants in order for them to actually accept us. And it's so funny because the reason my relationships that I cultivate is because I show up as me.
Yep.
Then it allows other people the permission for them to go, oh, well, I'm me too. I can be me too. Like, even if somebody farts and they're embarrassed, like I'll be like, yeah, it's all good. Like, anyways, like I'll make them feel comfortable where they're like, all right, cool. Where if I was like, yeah, and they were uncomfortable, they would shut down. Even if it's just that simple thing, they would shut down and go, I can't, like, I'm not accepted just by that simple gesture. I'm like, yo, it's all good. Like, all good. Let's.
We all fart.
Yeah. Or something that, even though like I get embarrassed, right? But some people, it's that connection that we yearn for, like for them to accept us for who we are, regardless of what we say or do. Like, that's why when I Twitch, like, it's gotten less now because I've accepted it. I've allowed it to, when I've gone through like, rejecting it and then accepting it. But more importantly, my friends accept me with it. And it's so funny because as I'm around them more, I start to twitch less. It just kind of subsides because I'm not like frantically thinking of who I'm supposed to be around them. And if I'm holding it back, it's like, no, I'm just me.
Yeah.
Twitch, and they'll be like, cool.
A lot of it's like comparison too, man. Like comparison's the thief of joy. I was in the gym this morning and I was listening to Ed Milet, and dude, he talked about something that like blew my mind, even though I've heard it a million times before. But he was talking about how like he watched like a family eat dinner, and it was complete chaos for like an hour. And then somebody asked the like waitress to take a picture, and for that like 10 seconds, it was perfection while they were taking the picture, and then it went back to chaos.
Wow.
And they posted that picture of the perfection, and that's what we see. So subconsciously, we think we need to be perfect all the time. So we mask who we really are when we're around other people because we want them to think that we're perfect. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then it's just progressively getting worse.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, dude, like being in the right group of people to where you're able to be yourself, or just saying fuck everybody and just being able to mentally just show up and be yourself around anybody, which I feel like is how you are.
I mean, I yes, I am like that, but it's funny. I do have those self-conscious thoughts of like, sometimes I have imposter syndrome, even though I've sold millions of dollars worth of real estate and I have millions of dollars right now of like good debt that I'm going to flip. I'm like, oh, this guy, I compare myself. I'm like, oh, he's got 100 million.
Right.
Who am I? And so there is a level of that, but if you notice, sometimes I have outbursts of like when I'm like, hi, and I'm like, yo, what's up, party people? And I like do things that are very like normal people would be like, yo, chill. Like my son goes, yo, man, you're embarrassing me, yo. Yeah. And then the other day he's like, do you just not have that thing in your brain that like makes you get embarrassed, is what he asked me. And then I said, you know what? I used to, and I don't care what people think because I want to show up as me. And he goes, I like that. So I'm trying to, within that lesson, give my son the opportunity, and people watching, like, even if it's an outburst, like when I get excited, you know, like I'm like, yo, bro, like, yes, yeah. And then like somebody wins and I'll just like slap the table, and that's a part of a twitch, but it's really like I'm excited for you. Like I've spilled drinks and shit before, like on people by accident. I won't do it around you, but I've done that because that's my outburst of how I feel, versus going, yeah, oh, I'm gonna look crazy right now, so I'm just gonna, like, nobody likes that. No, people want to see you regardless of what you do.
Damn, I did it yesterday, dude. Like I went to my daughter's like winter concert, and I really wanted to just like scream out, but it was more so like to be funny and like like as fucked up as it kind of sounds, like kind of embarrass her, you know what I mean? Like,
see, but that's
not
you.
Like,
that's what you do.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean?
That's what you do.
I kind of did it. It was like reserved. You know what I mean? I was whatever.
Like you give it a 3 out of a 10.
But I acknowledged that. You know what I mean? Like I paid attention to it. I was like, like why am I kind of holding myself back?
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Just showing up and being able to like fully be yourself is a freaking superpower of its own.
Love that. I love that you acknowledge that from that moment, because next time it happens, you might just let go, and then you might be surprised the reaction that you get around you. Other people might have the same feeling of them wanting to do that, and because you did it, then you let go, and then now you created a ripple effect.
Yep.
And people are screaming, and you're like, dude, I was just doing it because of me, but everybody's like, yeah, bro. They're really saying, that you expressed yourself, not, that you screamed. Like, you made them feel something with that. So you wanted to embarrass, but at the same time, I think you just wanted to share your joy, which it was a level, there was a joy, and there was like, I'm going to embarrass her, but you were actually a proud dad.
Yeah.
And that's what people want to see. Like, I connect with that more than anything else.
That's
like,
dope, dude.
I'm proud. Yeah, that's a viral video. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. Because people are like, yo, that guy doesn't care what people think, you know? And just for the next time, I think you'll realize it and go, wow, that's crazy. I'm going to be more of this. I'm going to do more of that versus reserving it.
Dude, I'm trying, you know?
I love that.
Everything's a work in progress, you know? How do you, so I want to get into some of the life coaching that you do. What kind of things are you coaching for? I guess a little bit of how you got into the space. Like, was there like a moment where you're like, maybe I should, or did people just start coming to you and asking you for advice? Because the first time I met you, I feel like we dove into this like giant thing of meditation. And do you remember that, dude? We were like tequilas in our hand. We were like looking up at the sun, like the palm trees and stuff. We were at the cabana at MGM, dude.
We were looking at, I had a meditation with you, and I was having you just look out, and I was doing it with you and focusing on the things that are beautiful once you open your eyes, and the calmness that you feel inside.
Yeah.
So
I do like, and it's funny because like people hear the word meditation and they think like sitting in a circle will be like, oh, you know, like it's not like that, dude. Like it's just calming your mind to be extremely present in any moment. And like the whole like car analogy, right? Of like, you know, don't look in the rear view mirror. That's why the windshield's bigger, but the car, like the interior of the car is bigger than the windshield and the rearview mirror, you know? So like being present, I heard that from Ed Milet this morning too.
That's cool.
And that, you know, resonated with me. But like my form of meditation is being like extremely calming my mind to learn how to be present. Right. So like, and I think we touched base with that at the cabana. I was like, dude, like look at these beautiful palm trees. Look at all these people like doing these things, you know, try to get rid of that anxiety of like thinking too far forward or depression, thinking in the past, you know? But was that like your MO at that time? Like meditation, like
No, in fact, I have resisted it for a very long time for the same reason that you're like, what the heck is meditation? Like, I remember being like 25 and I was talking to some guy in a Kinko's and I was doing copies to do an audition. And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I was just talking about everything. And he goes, have you ever tried meditation? And I'm like, for what? And in that time, I remember exactly where I was sitting, what I had on. Like I said, For what? Like, he goes, if you could just calm your thoughts and have an idea of a clear picture of what you want to say, you will be a very powerful kid. Like, you'll be a very powerful guy. And I was like, I don't know what that meant. 10 years later, I got introduced to a specific meditation. I was just using the app Headspace, and I had gone on a couple retreats. And what I found, the simplest way is your brain creates thoughts no matter what, unless there's I want to talk about this later, but there's a paradox of like control. When you have no control, you actually have all the control in the world. When you think you're in control, you have no control. So when you want to think of a thought, like if I said, think of the thought right now, think of a thought. You're like, you probably can't. I mean, you can force yourself to, but your mind kind of goes blank because it doesn't know what to choose out of the thousands of thoughts, right? It's a concept. So as we're sitting there, I started observing thoughts like traffic. And as an observer versus, oh, this is my thought and I'm thinking about it. And now I'm involved in this thought. And then I'm going down a tunnel of like thought. and so that's overthinking. So what I did was learn how to get distracted with the thoughts and bring it back to the present, which is your focus on your breathing. Or a candle that's burning. You leave your eyes open and you just watch the candle just flicker back and forth. And then your mind kind of wanders or you doze off and you're like, no. So the key is to get distracted. How fast can you come back? How fast can you refocus your mind to center, which is what it is. That's I think that is the ultimate goal, to go, yeah, and then and bring it to center, to that wick or the flame or in your mind, your stomach, your inhale and exhale, like the present moment. That I think is the key to meditation, where, you know, obviously you transcend when you go into a deeper state and you're not completely sleeping, but your subconscious is on and you're listening to theta waves. So there's different ways to do it. Me sharing with you that is, I think people make it very complicated because the mind tends to be very complicated. It's sitting in the body and the soul being present.
No,
not in the mind.
I think that was good for all you guys with ADHD.
Yep.
Pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Because that was pretty solid advice.
Thanks,
dude.
Bro.
You know?
Yeah. And I not diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I've got
Everybody has it, bro.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. L, M, N, O, P.
So is that what you're kind of like coaching, or is it just like life, emotion, like what?
Yes. So I like my life. I turned into a life coach after I had I was in a retreat, and you know, what I find myself really good at is shifting people's beliefs around perspective. So I can help someone shift their perspective about a problem or an idea or a concept and give them new insights that make their belief system shift and benefit them. So I help people get in tune with their emotions and sharing who they are. And like that, what I just said, hey, your friends, you know, if you go to them and say, yo, here's me, open-hearted, vulnerable, this is what I'm feeling. And then they're like, wow, then they connect with you because, oh, you're not just a high-performing robot. You actually have feelings and you've got fears like me, but you're still killing it.
Right.
I'm inspired by you versus rejecting you because I can't be you, you know?
Yeah.
So I help people get in tune with that emotional side, pain. I have my course is called Behind the Movement. Think outside the box. Pain to power. Using your pain that you've had in the past, allowing yourself, respecting the fact that you do have emotions and feelings, honoring those feelings, letting yourself see what they are and how you responded or reacted to them, and then having a new perspective about them so that you can either forgive or understand better. It's just understanding yourself better.
Right.
Therefore, shifting your perspective about things that are holding you back. Like, for me, I didn't come from money. Even though I've made millions of dollars, I feel like at some point I was like, I don't deserve these because I never had them. So why the desire to have them? I'm doing something now that brings, 7 figures in real estate. Now, what do I do? Like, do I just ignore? Do I do, like, what happens? So then I went back and looked at why I had that fear of money. And then I reframed it myself. I had a coach help me reframe also. And then I'm like, wow, money is power. And so what can I do with this power? Now I've reframed it to help other people. So it's just, it's going back into the past to recalibrating, allowing people to have their their deep connection with their feelings, which then generate the emotions, understanding those emotions, and then stepping into who you really are versus who you think you should show up as.
And that's why you're here, right? You got a client out here. That's cool, man. And obviously the dedication, you fly out to meet people and help them. I mean, I would say you were a powerful person that helped me. Even though I didn't pay for your coaching, I got some free shit. You know what I mean? No, like I'm serious. I mean, the people like you, like Chris or Cole or any of those guys. I think from an outside perspective, a lot of people see it as just like very cliquey and almost kind of like scammy. And that's just the reality. I thought the same thing, but it's like when you get to know the people and you get to understand, the perspective behind the whole thing, you start to see what it really is, the people, who they really are. You know what I mean? And like I had a trouble with my beliefs. I still do.
We
to be
all
honest
do.
with you. You know what I mean?
We all do.
I still struggle with imposter syndrome. I think most people do, but they're just afraid to show it.
Mm-hmm.
So, dude, like little coaching thing, that like just the fact that you said, be vulnerable and be saying like, hey, like I need your support. That was like, I'd never thought of that. You know what I mean? So dude, I think you're crushing it, man. I think you're on the right path. I support you.
Thank you.
I'm
like, I got happy because you support me.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, you do have people that are rooting in your corner, and like, dude, we post stuff on social media and, maybe it doesn't get as many likes or like people don't look at it. And like subconsciously we're kind of like, damn, I watch you talking about real estate and stuff. I watched the video how you were putting cameras up on one of your properties that you're remodeling right now. Yep. You know what I mean? So like, I'm paying attention. People are paying attention. Just because you don't know they're paying attention, people are paying attention.
Yeah.
Got
it. I appreciate that. I actually wanted to bring it back to how I stepped into coaching, because I went on a retreat, and at the retreat, there was a guy that was running it, obviously, and I was just kind of a student, and not kind of a student. I was there to just be a part of it, and something happened where people were having breakthroughs, and I'm not necessarily correlating their breakthroughs with me. I'm not saying it's all about me. It's the work that was happening within those conversations on the sidelines that then we got into a room together, and then they were saying, the common theme was like, I was experiencing this, and then I had a conversation briefly with Legacy, and then this happened, and it was like, and then my mentor looked back at me like every time they would say it, he'd be like, interesting, and he came up to me, goes, you have basically had a interaction with all these people that are having these huge shifts. Have you ever coached? Have you ever done? So he gave me my first opportunity to actually share my twitching story and my dancing on a stage. It was actually called One Last Talk. It was like, if you were in 15 minutes, you were gonna leave the world and die. What would you say to the world? Deep and I shit. Actually, he actually wrote a book. You guys should check it out. His name is Philip McKernan, one of my freaking greatest friends, and he's awesome. He's just an amazing human being among all my other friends. But one of the things that I noticed is when I was sharing that story, I actually I was like, I've always danced for people, but today I'm gonna dance, and they were all cheering. I'm like, but not for you. To the audience, I was like, I'm not gonna dance for you. Like, I'm done performing for just you. I'm gonna dance for me. And I was so internal, doing what I wanted to do, not from a trying to like captivate the audience perspective, but just like me in a living room by myself when I was 15 years old, messing up and dancing and doing my thing. It was just me on stage doing that, and it felt so beautiful because I was bawling my eyes out as I'm crying. As I'm crying, I'm dancing. Yeah. And it was just, I got a standing ovation for over a minute. And it's like, I realized in that moment, the power that I had was sharing my true feelings of my true story. Your message, all those things, like your story is what connects. Like, that's when I stepped into that work. And then, of course, I was like, well, can I do this and sustain it? How do I do that? Create a business out of it. So I never wanted to call myself a coach, but life coach, really, it's a perspective coach, a perception coach, or emotional coach. Like, I help people get the cage away from their heart and open the cage that's covering their heart and really show up vulnerable, humble, humility. I'm not perfect. I'm broken. I'm just here. And
Right.
so that, I think that approach gives you no other ability to go, well, I'm not hiding anymore. This is just who I am. And you accept me or you don't, but at least you see me. And I think that approach for me, my clients, I want them to do that. And what I find, like, there was a woman that I had a conversation with, and she's like, I have had 40 years of debilitating social anxiety. And in one conversation with her, it started to subside, and she was able to do things that she never thought in her life she'd be able to do. And she posted a huge thing on social media, and it was like, and this was like 4 years ago. And I'm like, wow, I did that. And in my head, I was like, this is powerful. The work that I do is powerful. I don't consider myself, I always tend to want to channel, like, the creator through me. And if I channel, therefore I relinquish that responsibility of, I have to perform every single time. Like, no,
Right.
It's not about me. It's about me using my skill to listen, my skill to persuade and influence on a powerful level to make you a better version. Like, just imagine the one concept that we just shared. Go be vulnerable with your friends. If you did that with every one of your friends, what the outcome would be. To me, it's monumental, because not only will you allow them to see you, they will allow themselves permission to be themselves in front of you and to the world. So 1 to 5 to 10 to 100. And now everybody's being honest and open and vulnerable.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, like a relationship with your spouse or wife or girlfriend or whatever, eventually you get to that point where you're just like being your dumbass, goofy self, like fucking around all the time, but in the beginning of the relationship, you're just like, oh yeah, well, this is what I do. And, you're trying to be like overly respectful and like, put on like this face, and then you learn the person and you get comfortable. And so it's really just a comfortability thing.
Yep.
Man, that's dope, dude.
Yep.
But the coaching thing is fucking hard, man. Like, I'm trying to get into that space. I've had a lot of people like that I've, I guess, consulted for, and it's so fucking uncomfortable.
What do you find uncomfortable about it? I mean, I can. Go ahead. Tell me.
To be honest with you, I guess the judgment, dude. Like,
of what?
I would say like some of the imposter syndrome comes out. Like
imposter. I want to break it down with you.
But the thing is, like, the thing that I'm doing is like I wholeheartedly believe like the value that I'm bringing is unmatched. Like, nobody is doing the shit that I'm about to do.
So where's the imposter is what? Like, let's break it down. Imposter, like what you shouldn't be doing coaching because what?
I guess I don't have a reason.
You have a reason.
But I don't know it.
I
don't know what the reason is.
If you did know the reason, what would that reason be?
Dude, I don't know.
You do know.
I don't. No, for real. Like, I don't know, dude. Maybe it's just maybe it's that mask. Like, I haven't been ready to take it off yet or something. I'm actively trying to figure it out.
Well,
you know what I mean?
We're figuring it out right now. So,
I don't want this to go into like a therapy session.
No,
man.
not therapy. I think here's the power of this. You have the answer in you. I know you do. And I think even if it's silly or stupid, or maybe it's amazing, maybe it's a pivotal moment, then if you share that, let's just say somebody sees it and goes, dude, that's exactly what I had. Like, that's exactly the thing. So I'm vicariously living through you, but really if you think about it, it's for you and for them and for me. I'm trying to get out of you this thing that you're an imposter. If I look at you, I can tell you how amazing you are. I can be like, dude, Robert, bro, you've done this, and tell you all your accolades and your successes and the money you've got. Like, I can show you all that. But because you don't feel it, there's a difference. So imagine us getting to a place of you going, hey, the reason I feel like I'm an imposter is because I don't think I've been doing this as long as other people. And therefore, and I've had some failures within what I'm doing that I'm not proud of. So if I couple the big picture, I'm an imposter because I'm not really where I want to be. Then it's consumable. Did I bullseye it?
Yeah.
Or was it like, nyeh?
No. I would say you nailed it. I think a lot of it is just, I guess yeah, comparison. I mean,
yes.
Comparison, fear, judgment, and just making. Actually, to be honest with you, I think it's more so of the fear of like making sure that I show up fully and provide the value that like, dude, in my head, I see it so clearly. I see the value that's there. Like, I understand like the things that I'm going to do and how it's actually going to help people, you know, because
is business fun for you?
Certain parts of it, yeah.
Is creating the business fun for you?
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay, so look, you just smiled and you just like, dude, I can tell it's your jam. How you would describe it is like, yeah, that's my jam. That's my jam. I'm not I'm in the real estate space. I'm not in the services space. That's you. I was driving here and I saw a big truck of I think it was like plumbing, or it was like I saw like 5 of them, and I immediately thought of you. I'm like, that's probably his truck, even though it was something that you don't do. I'm pretty sure it was a different brand of different thing, and I was like, oh, that's probably his. I kid you not. Subconsciously, I was like, and I was like thinking about, I was like, I want a truck like that. I wish I could start a business like that. Yo, he's got like multiple businesses. Like, you know, you've got the pressure washing and you've got the AC, and like you've done that. And he buys the trucks, and like there's something that he knows, the formula of how to get it started and how to pick up momentum. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I wish I had on that front. Because I've been wanting to start a business concrete, and I just don't know where to start. Where you know exactly where to start. So if you look at that, there are people out there like me that are ready to go, but they're afraid because they've never done it. And even if I've done it once with dance and real estate, I've never done that space, and you hold the key to it. And you hold the key to their freedom. You hold the key to their education, and you have fun doing it. You said it's fun starting it. The keeping going, that's on them. How much marketing do you have? Like, but if you step up and go, yo, this is fun, and not think about the end result being, oh, they have to have a successful business. No, they need to get it started. If you consider yourself, I'm going to coach to get you started off the ground. Here's what I do, 1 to 10 steps that will give you the exact formula that I provide. We're going to have fun doing it. Now you're talking. Now they'll be like, how much do I need to pay? Because somebody will buy a McDonald's for $1 million, right? Like, and they that's what they do. But for them to coach with you firsthand, come into your offices, see your trucks, see what you paid for, the idea, how you brand yourself, like you branded yourself with this service-based business so much that I don't really know the depth of your service businesses. But in my head, you are the person that pops up when I see a truck that's branded. Think about that.
Dope.
And I have no affinity with any of it except for, oh yeah, my boy. In my head, you're the only one that knows that space. And just so you know, I don't have anybody else that in Miami and LA. I don't have anyone that I think about. So you hold that value. So what do you think other people might hold of you?
I don't know.
That actually see you with your trucks and where you started and how you're sending people out, and you're at this house and they're pressure washing and you're hiring people and people are happy, and you have a podcast and you got time to create a podcast. Like, they want that. Yeah. That's what they're looking for. So take yourself out of the equation and put what you're actually a master at. You're a master at creating time and allowing yourself to share the things that make you happy, which is what people want.
We should barter. You help me with this, I'll help you with the starting.
I'm down. I'm down. But people need you to coach them. And on top of that, I think you're really good at with people. Like, you're really good at like
connecting with people.
Yeah, and going, oh, like legacy. What are you scared of? Oh yeah, I had that fear before, that limiting belief that you're not going to get your first client. Psh, I got you sorted. I will get you your first client. Yeah. Like imagine that. Like, dude, I'm going to help you start your business and I'm going to get you your first client.
Okay, so to go back, I would say I believe it. I think it's me believing that other people are going to believe in me. That would be my answer to your previous question.
Well, good. And you said you...
What?
And you said you didn't have the answer earlier, but yet here it is. And that was a beautiful response, because what I can tell you is this. Here's what I think. You need to believe in them that they're capable of doing it. Once you go, I'm going to pick my client. Like if I came to you and said, hey, I don't like organization. I don't want to do nothing. I just want it done for me. You're like, you're not my guy. If I said, yo, I work hard, I just don't have direction, and I got fire, and I'm like, dude, help me. I bet you if I came to you with, you were a dancer turned into real estate, now you want to start a business, you're my ideal client. Let's go.
Yeah.
Point you in the direction, you'll go do it, and when you come back, I'll have an answer for you. Like, you are that guy. So I think you need to reframe it for them thinking that they need to believe in you. There's no way. Why would they not when you're already doing it?
I don't know.
If somebody comes to me and says, yo, you're doing windmills. My windmills aren't perfect. Well. They are. No, my windmills aren't perfect. But there's my style. If somebody watched me and came to me and said, I want to learn windmills like you, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to teach them windmills like me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a master at them.
No, I already do it.
No, I know.
I spend like hours of my time helping other people. I jump on Zoom calls. I tell them, I help them get for free.
For free?
Yeah, dude.
So here's
I help them get clients.
The sustainability of that is not like.
No, I understand that. I'm trying. I guess I'm trying to build like more of like a network of people that want to grow and change. And
I see what you're
everybody's stuck in their own head, and I don't know. It's a work in progress.
Can
bro.
I give? This is what I would love to see this from you. You one message on social media saying, hey, I want to create a network of people that want to grow and want to do this and want to do this. And if you're on board, send me a DM. Get those people because they're watching you, like you said. I bet you if I said, yo, I'm doing a retreat, guys, who's coming? We're going to Mexico and we're talking about life and we're going to find in tune who we are as men. You'd be like, DM, yo, what's up, bro? I'm in.
Yeah.
Because you want to be there. And so people are watching you. Like you say, you're watching me, and I don't know this. Like, I'm just pumping stuff out. I have no idea what the ripple's going to be, but I'm exposing myself in a way, sharing my thing that's dear to me. And if you did a message stating what you're looking for, what you really want, I have an inclination that people are going to respond to you, and you're going to be like, damn, this is cool. Because that's what you want. You want to have culture within what you're doing because you are a high achiever and you want to do more. Imagine doing it with people that are like you and want to be like you and think big picture, and now you're creating bigger impact. I love what you're doing, bro. I think you're in the right place at the right time, and where it's developing is going to be beautiful for you. I can see it already.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. And I think that should be a note to everybody, to people that think that everybody's life is perfect and that they always know everything and they've got it going on. They're just building the plane as they're flying. You know what I mean?
As one's flying over.
Yeah, right. I know, we're right next to the airport. Dude, we're constantly learning, man. You know what I mean? Like it's a constant learning game where nobody has everything figured out. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I appreciate you jumping on, dude. I appreciate the advice that you've given me and everybody else. It's been amazing. And I'm pumped to kind of transition everything from this show that we've, dove so deep into like so many different stories of people and how they've gotten, through so many hardships. And we're kind of transitioning towards, the more of the strategic things. So it's going to be exciting going forward. And it was a blessing to have you on today, so I appreciate you coming down to Vegas and coming by, and hopefully we can get like a cigar and something.
Absolutely.
Before you.
I think that's a must.
Yeah. Well, where can people find you if they wanted to dabble into maybe some life coaching or real estate advice, or maybe learn how to dance on their head?
Well, they could find me at my Instagram's probably the one I use the most. It's Legacy Perez 1, and I'll spell that LEGACY PEREZ and the number 1, Legacy Perez 1 across all handles. And yeah, man, I mean, I'm always there. I just love what I do, and I do what I love, and I want other people to do the same because that's why we're doing it.
Dope, dude. All right. You heard it, guys. We'll see you next time.
Peace.